Pydantic AI's output validator mechanism, paired with ModelRetry, enables an agent to validate its own structured output against a live database before considering a run complete. The code you are about to see demonstrates this pattern through a SQL generation agent whose success or failure is determined by whether a generated query can execute. The agent is initialized with a union output type of success and InvalidRequest, declares a database con dependency via deps type, and registers an @agent output validator that runs explain against whatever query the model returns. If the query fails, ModelRetry is raised to give the model another attempt.
From fake database import database con, QueryError. From Pydantic import base model. From Pydantic AI import agent, run context, ModelRetry. Class success base model. SQL query, SDR. Class InvalidRequest base model. Error message, SDR. Output equals success, InvalidRequest. Agent equals agent database con, output. Google GLA, Gemini 3 flash preview. Output type equals output hash type, ignore. Deps type equals database con. Instructions equals generate PostgreSQL flavored SQL queries based on user input. @agent, output validator. Async def validate SQL CTX. Run context database con, output. Output output. If instance output, InvalidRequest. Return output. Try. Await CTX. Deps. Executef explain output.SQL query. Accept query error as E. Raise model retrieve invalid query. E from E. LC. Return output. Result equals agent. Run sync. Get me users who were last active yesterday. Deps equals database con. Print result, output. SQL query equals select from users where last active. Date equals today interval 1 day.
The agent defines a union output type of success and InvalidRequest, then wires an output validator that runs explain against the generated SQL via CTX. Deps, execute. If the query throws a query error, it raises ModelRetry to tell the model to regenerate rather than accepting a broken query. The validator short circuits on InvalidRequest since there's nothing to validate. This pattern works because output validators run after the model commits to an output, but before the run completes, letting you enforce invariants that Pydantic alone can't check. The trade-off is that each retry hits the database, so heavy queries or slow connections add latency. Alternatives include output functions with side effects or stricter schema design, but when validation requires actual DB execution, this is the right hook. Let's break it down.
From fake database import database con, QueryError. From Pydantic import base model.
Imports database con and QueryError from a fake database module, and base model from Pydantic for data validation.
Class success base model. SQL query, SDR.
Defines a Pydantic model named success that wraps a single string field called SQL query.
Class InvalidRequest base model. Error message, SDR. Output equals success, InvalidRequest.
Defines InvalidRequest as a Pydantic model carrying an error message string, then aliases output as a union type accepting either a success or an InvalidRequest instance.
@agent, output validator. Async def validate SQL CTX. Run context database con, output. Output output. If instance output, InvalidRequest. Return output.
Defines an async output validator on an agent that, when the output is an InvalidRequest instance, returns it as is without further processing.
Result equals agent, run sync. Get me users who were last active yesterday. deps equals database con.
Invokes the agent synchronously with a natural language query asking for users last active yesterday, passing a database con instance as a dependency. The whole thing hinges on one idea. Let the model commit to an output, then check it against reality before calling the run done. The union output type gives the model two ways to finish: success with a SQL query or InvalidRequest with an error message. The output validator is where that check happens. It grabs CTX, deps, execute to run explain against whatever query came back. If the database throws a query error, ModelRetry says try again. If the output is already InvalidRequest, the validator short circuits because there is nothing to validate. That validator runs after the model has committed, but before the run completes, which is exactly the window you need to enforce invariants Pydantic alone cannot check. The trade-off is each retry hits the database, so slow connections or heavy queries add latency. Alternatives like output functions with side effects or stricter schemas exist. But when validation genuinely requires executing the query, this output validator plus ModelRetry pattern is the right hook.
Philodelia watched the output validator explain the query. Only the unexplainable one got a second explanation.